When I became a parent, I noticed something I wasn't fully expecting. Raising a child, especially in modern culture, can start to feel like an optimization study at times. And unfortunately, at times, happens to be more frequent than not. And honestly, I'm not even sure if this is just an American thing anymore. So I'm curious if you're a parent, let me know in the comments if you feel like this too. Sometimes it feels like from the moment a child is born and everything becomes measurable and everything becomes optimizable. Sleep windows, wake windows, calories, protein, supplements, screen time, language exposure, independent play, sensory activities, and etc. Even before the child can speak, it can already feel like there is a dashboard full of KPIs. And as engineer, I'm especially vulnerable to this way of thinking. At work, optimization is useful. You optimize schedules, meetings, designs, manufacturing, performance, reliability. That mindset helps solve problems. The issue I find is that I often unconsciously bring the same mindset home. And before I realize, my day starts to feel a lot less like parenting and more like program management. Wake up at 6, prepare breakfast, make coffee, pack your things, answer messages, maybe squeeze in Italian practice while driving, call your parents, join a meeting. Everything stacked together, every minute assign a function. And while doing some of these activities, I can physically be with my child without fully being there. And that part hit me harder than I expected because children develop incredibly fast, not just physically, but emotionally. The way they speak changes, the way they laugh changes, the way they look at you changes, and sometimes almost month to month. Knowing this and reflecting back does create some uncomfortable thoughts. If you spend too much time of your life optimizing for future, you can accidentally stop experiencing the present. On one side, it's strange because optimization itself is not bad. In many ways, it's necessary. It's a good thing, especially for parents. Because without structure, routines, planning, and efficiency, modern life can completely overwhelm you. So the last thing I want to convey is don't pursue discipline or intentional parenting. Not at all. I find it that some level of optimization is an act of care. Wanting your child to sleep well, to eat well, to learn, to feel emotionally safe. Those are beautiful things, but I think there is a line. And sometimes, perhaps more often than we would like to, we cross it without noticing. At some point, the system we created to support life starts replacing itself. So, for example, around milestone, a milestone says 50 words by 18 months. So naturally, parents react. We start reading more, using flashcards, repeating words, tracking progress. And again, none of it is wrong, but sometimes I catch myself asking a question that does not feel pleasant. Am I connecting with my child right now? Or am I trying to improve a metric? Because those things can look very similar from the outside. A child doesn't always remember or is aware of the optimization strategy, but they often remember the feeling of being rushed or relaxed, the feeling of your attention or your distraction. And honestly, I think adults feel this too. The challenge with adults is that they forget to stop and to reflect. I've noticed that some of my strongest memories with people I love weren't efficient moments. They were slow moments, conversations that went nowhere, meals that took a long time, homework assignments that I worked on with my friends that took hours and they were not even halfway done, sitting and staring at the waves, watching my son shoot a basketball for 20 minutes straight, trying to score a single basket. No productivity, no measurable outcome other than the basket my son scored, of course, but just presence. And I think children experience us the same way. Not as perfectly optimized parents, but as emotional environments. That realization was a very powerful one for me because I started noticing how often my mind was somewhere else, thinking about tomorrow, next week, the next task, the next improvement, even during moments that I found to be very meaningful. And I don't think This only applies to career-focused parents. I actually think that stay-at-home parents experience this too, maybe even more sometimes, because when you're around routines all day long, the repetition can almost blur the experience together with the child. You're physically present by default, but mental presence is something different. So now I try to remind myself of something. Efficiency is useful, optimization has a place, but optimization is supposed to help us arrive at life, not replace it. The goal of life cannot be efficiency or productivity. At least I don't think so anymore. It is ironic though, because I still catch myself crossing that line at times, probably more often than I want to. But nowadays I notice it faster. And because of that, I've started practicing something that honestly feels unnatural to me: doing less in certain moments, not feeling every silence or maximizing every minute, not turning every interaction into an improvement project, but instead just being there, even briefly. It is hard, to be honest, but I do give myself a pat on the back for trying at least, because I have a feeling that years from now, the moments I'll remember the most clearly won't be the optimized ones. They will be the moments where I was fully present, the small moments that looked unproductive from the outside, but somehow felt deeply meaningful while living them. Thank you again for your attention, and until next time, bye bye.